welcome back to the Low Man Help podcast. I'm Marc Campbell. I'm joined today by one of two men that has beaten Stephen Curry and LeBron James in an NBA Finals. No, he's not Kawhi Leonard. Daniel Green, welcome to the pod.
Daniel is back, man. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while, man. We've done this in a while. Happy New Year for those, because, I mean, I feel like it's late.
It's a little late to wish people Happy New Year. It's more, now you should more be like, condolences on giving up on your New Year's resolution.
Yeah, already. Yeah. So I told people, I think I did on my pod, that like they have 2 weeks. If you don't get it within the first 2 weeks, if I haven't heard from you or seen you, but to the people tuning in that haven't seen us since the New Year, Happy New Year. But yes, it is a little late. We are in LA. I'm in Los Angeles, California, where things have been happening since the New Year.
Yeah.
They're getting better. Things are slowing down. That's a good thing. I know most people got out with their lives, which is great. Lost homes. It's tragic. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, we are here to talk about NBA champions.
Hoops.
We are here for inner circle title contenders. You, my friend, have won 3 NBA championships. We are going to be cutthroat with the inner circle. This is not a list of 10 teams like maybe they could, maybe they couldn't. This is inner circle, betting your life on the line. Like the champ is coming out of this group of teams. You had 4, I had 5. We had a few dark horses. We agreed on a few. We did not agree on other couple that we had. So going through the one that we do agree on, first off, let me just ask you, out of the 3 that you've had, which one did you feel like was the tougher run to the title?
Probably Toronto.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say probably, definitely Toronto.
Yeah.
And San Antonio, we had a tough first series. We went to 7 games with Dallas, I believe, and we beat them pretty good handily at home. Other than that, I think everything else was like 4-1.
Yeah.
Right? And I would say we were favored because we were at the finals last year. We just lost to Miami the previous year, but we should have won. We could have won. They won. Give them credit. They won. We could have won. So bringing everybody back, everybody expected us to be there. And we beat everybody pretty much 4-1. Toronto, though, we were a 2 seed in the East. Milwaukee was very good. Philly was very good. They had, had some really good teams. And then, of course, when you get out the East, you got Golden State with a Kevin Durant. So we are not favored by any means to win. But LA said we were better than everybody. So we were also favored.
It was also pickup basketball. It felt like pickup basketball.
It did, but I think we beat most teams 4-1. I think Miami gave us 4-2. Denver might have been 4-2. We beat most teams 4-1, 4-2.
The rest in non-travel was a serious thing, right?
Yes.
That
being in that
so
space
serious.
was weird. Not traveling, and then every other day. I don't think it was much because we were the only thing on TV at the time, so it was like every other day. But yes, we were expected to win at the Lakers. We had the best team, and we pretty much said in Philly we're down 0-2 to Milwaukee to start. Won 7 games with Philly, and then we had to play Golden State in the finals, which we went to 6 games, which was not easy, and we were lucky enough to beat them most of the games on the road. We won most of our games on the road. We won 1 home game.
Good. Was that Oracle still?
Yes, that was the last game in the Oracle.
Oh, so you closed Oracle out?
We did. I was a part of that. Yeah, I was lucky enough to be a part of that. Yeah.
Wow, love it.
Me and Y, the Claw.
I love it. Only 2 guys. Well, I have to say, I gave shout out Bill Simmons, half-assed internet research. Like it's not like there's not a database you can go to that says like who's beaten these guys, or at least one that I have. So first one, our first agreement. To win a championship, you kind of just laid it out. You need to be really good. You need to get lucky with health, and then you need to have good matchups that like play to your strengths and also are really bad.
Matchups are key.
Pressure points that you can press on teams.
Yes,
because
matchups
everybody
are a huge key.
However it breaks, and there's do you believe in the basketball gods? Like when teams tank to get like a certain matchup, even though matchups matter, when teams tank to get the matchups, do you think the basketball gods are just like, watch this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever been a part of that?
Where we lost on purpose? No.
No.
I've been a part of where we went from a 2 seed to a 7 seed on the last loss of the end of the season.
Oh, damn.
That's how close it was in the West, and we had to play the Clippers in the first round. This is actually after we won.
Was that the Chris Paul buzzer beater?
Yes. He had his game winner, floater over Timmy.
Yeah.
It was like maybe 2 seconds left after, but damn near a game. It was a game winner.
Yeah. So I think Seth Partnow wrote Mid-Range Theory, and Draymond Green talks about 82 verse 16. And the way that I always kind of look at it is Seth's way, which is like game theory optimal for versus fully exploitative play. So game theory optimal is kind of like your habits, what you do well, how you're going to beat a big wide range set of opponents through the regular season when everything's just next day. And then FEP is fully exploitative play where, this matchup, we really have something that this team can't stop, or, we're in a bad spot with them. So I think that's kind of how I look at it. And the first one, the one we agree on as inner circle, is Boston. It's kind of like an easy one. It feels like they have all the ingredients where there's not a ton of pressure points you can put on them, where they're in a bad spot and they're like, oh man, we really can't stop this, or we don't have any solutions. And they can really put you in some bad spots with how they space the floor and kind of the mismatches they can go to. What do you like about them the most?
Obviously, they're the defending champs. They won last year and they've been to the finals plenty of times. They kept the same group together. They got a great, some really good depth with Pritchard off the bench and Hauser was shooting. They live and die by the three. I don't like about them, but they're very good. They're very good defensively. You got role players that are ultimately superstars on other teams. Drew Holiday and Derek White. These guys are your role players, and Drew is an all-star. And you got him playing he can play easy. Porzingis the same. He's able to play a role out there. It's just an easy pick. So they were the most talented. They're the most talented team in the league.
Yeah,
the bill shows it. They pay enough. They pay a lot of money to get these guys here and keep them there, right? So the bill shows it. They're most talented. And overall, with my list, I have them number 2.
Okay, they're number 2. Okay.
Yes, I don't see. Of course, they have a very strong possibility of winning it. The reason why I don't think it's a for sure thing with them is health.
You think their roster, because they're a little thin?
A little thin, and I just don't trust Porzingis' health right now.
Yeah.
Or in the long run. I feel like something always comes up, and it's hard for a team to be the healthiest team multiple years in a row. Golden State did it for a stretch, and then eventually said KD, Clay, things started happening. Porzingis has been in and out. Last year was in and out. They had thing with Robert Williams. So this year, I think they are a very good team and a favorite to win. I just don't trust in all those guys being healthy and available for when it counts and matters. And if you don't have Porzingis, I don't see you beating the team that I think is the best team in the league right now.
Okay. All right. They do a lot of things well. They take care of the ball. They're first in turnover percentage. They're third in points per 100. They're one of those teams. They get to the rim. I think whenever they get into like the pick and roll stuff, a lot of the time we're getting a mismatch, we're getting penetration and cracking the shell, whether it's like 2 on the ball to blitz and we've got good cutters. Like they have guys, you mentioned Drew, Derek White, Porzingis, Horford. They have guys that are just mature professional basketball players. Like rarely do you see them get into situations where they're not making the right read, they're not seeing early help, and the ball's popping, swing. They're one of those teams that it truly feels like it's makes and misses. Their process, to me, their process is impeccable. Like they have, it does it go in or does it not go in? Because they're going to find the right process almost every offensive possession.
Yes, because the offense is so great. I think I agree with you with the Porzingis thing, and also Al Horford, who's a little bit older. I think you would have to attack that when he's in the game. Yeah. Those two guys get the bigs away from the basket, make them play perimeter, so they can't. Porzingis is great at protecting the rim, so he can't protect the rim as much. So they can't rebound as much. Tire him out, so he's not as good offensively. But essentially, you'll get better looks if you put them in action and be able to try to make them move laterally.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one, the team that you probably think, if you have them ranked number 1, and the first team we disagree on inner circle title contenders, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tell me why they're your number 1 pick. Tell me why they're inner circle and they're Danny's team.
Bro, they are the best team in the league, and I don't even think it's close. I'll say Cleveland is close. They play team basketball, both teams. OKC has the talent. They have the pieces. So does Cleveland. Only thing with Cleveland is just they're not ready yet to me. They need a year of being in the playoffs and taking your lumps. Minnesota did it last year. I don't know why they made the trade after, but that's what they needed. They had the talent. They had the pieces. All they had to do was bring the group back again together, and they would spend the money or trade somebody else.
Can I take the other side of the Thunder here? Because I'm not in. And like I guess like I believe that they are the best regular season team right now. Like they're so good night to night. Their switching is incredible. They hit first. Like they have a ferocity to them when attacking the paint, when protecting the paint. They're first in getting to the paint. They're first in least amount of drives to the paint on the other side of the floor. They're the best turnover team in the NBA on both ends, creating them and not giving the ball away. Like they're incredible. I'm not, selling them as a bad team. They're the best regular season team. My belief comes from when they get in a 7-game series, there are problems that other teams can present and that they can't really solve that well. Like when it slows down in terms of it's not every single night, we're just working through our habits, working through our own process, like trying to get our team to the end of the finish line here with the best like film that we can, the most amount of actions.
Which teams do you think gives them the problems they can't solve? One, I would say first, Cleveland is the best regular season team. I think OKC is having a great regular season, but I think Cleveland is they're always been really good.
Awesome. We're going to get to Cleveland. We both like Cleveland.
Their record is unbelievable. OKC, I just think that they're ready because they took their lumps against Dallas, which I don't think is Minnesota and Dallas aren't the same teams they were last year, in my opinion.
Okay, I love Hartenstein. I love the addition. I think that solves like some of their problems in terms of offensive shot creation
rebounding
outside of Shai on the offensive end. I think I think what he did last year for New York, like he's a really good playmaking hub. He can get it first to second side, second to third side on DHOs. Like he sets killer screens. God, is he big? Like, and he can dribble, he can handle, he can catch it in the pocket, he can play make in the pocket,
very
he can
good
hit
passing.
a floater. Yes, he's really good. So I really like him. I think he solves some problems. But my biggest thing with them is that I don't think Shai as a primary ball handler can stretch a defense like past their Overton window shooting the ball. And I think to me, that's why I don't love them as much as other teams in a 7-game series, because I think like when it comes down to it, his isolation stuff is really good, but I think you can, I don't think you're going to double for mid-range shots. Like I really think you're going to have to prove to people that you can stretch their defense way out the floor, like Luka did to Minnesota. That's something where you go talk about it. You're like, this is the thing that we really need to get over the hump. And I think he's trying to do it, which is awesome, but I just don't believe that he's there yet.
He is the MVP of the league this year. I think he's there. I know you have Jokic. Cool. They are smoking them. They are by the games. They're going to be 10 when they finish the season.
But is it really?
Denver's going to be like 6. They're going to be like 5 or 6.
But is it really about if it's value?
Yes.
You can't tell me that. So if you take Jokic off Denver and put in
Cade Cunningham in the conversation.
No. You won't let me finish anything. But this is 20 years. If you take Jokic off Denver and put in a league average big, they're awful. If you take Shai off Oklahoma City and put in a league average point guard, they're still a really good team. They're a phenomenal team.
I understand that.
So how is that value?
No.
How do you
measure
value?
No. They're a good team. Winning matters.
Okay.
You can take a lot of guys off a lot of teams and how bad they'll be because that person's off. You can go to Wembanyama, you can go to Joel.
Yeah, but I'm saying you get to replace them with the league average, like a $15 million player.
And the teams would be very terrible. But that doesn't necessarily make you the most valuable player of the league.
Okay.
Cade Cunningham would be in the conversation if that were the case. If you take Cade off Detroit, they are very bad. They are 500. They're above Philly right now. They're in the playoffs right now.
How do you, Danny Green, measure value? Like when you think about the most valuable player, how do you measure value? What is it?
That part is part of it. It's not a huge part of it. But winning shares matters. How impactful your numbers, the best player and the best team always gets a look. Mm-hmm. Now also the numbers you're doing. How efficient are your numbers? How well he's not only going on a tear, bro. He's averaging 30-something. And they're like plethora. There are a lot of games ahead of everybody in the West. It's not even close. Now if Denver was number 2 or 3,
I'm gonna find this Andy Bailey tweet today. Because I saw it and I didn't bookmark it, but I'll go back and find it because I have to. Mm-hmm. It was the Shai and like player A, player B, he does that. It was Shai and Jokic. and Jokic's net was like a 27.1. There's no way that anybody can convince me right now that he doesn't provide more value than any other player in the league. And I think it's one of those like MJ or LeBron where people just get tired of how good they are and how valuable they are. But
Agreed.
if you put every player in a pot, just put them all in a pot, teams no longer exist, and you gave every GM truth serum, Jokic is the first pick no matter what.
Listen, I had Jokic all year. I had Jokic all year till Shai went on they won a 16-game winning streak. And if Jokic is below 4 seed, I just can't give it to him. If OKC is number one but you know how big of a turnaround is from OKC in the last 4 years?
Fine. But can you answer my question?
Mind you, I have OKC making it to the finals. Denver's not going to get out of the first round. I don't know if they will.
No.
They're not.
All right. So
depending on the matchup, I just don't see. They're not going to get out of the second round. They won't get out of the second round for sure.
Boston,
they're not getting to the finals.
We agree. OKC, yes, we couldn't
this
be
is why
further. We couldn't be further apart.
Shai is the MVP this year. One, because they're going to be number one. They're going to be so many games ahead of Denver. That's why he'll get it over Jokic. Two, their defense, bro. They don't need to stretch. The biggest issue for them was rebounding.
Their defense.
They fixed that issue with Hartenstein and Chet. They protecting the rim. They are winning games with the twos. They don't obviously not shooting a lot of threes in volume, but they know who they are. They have a great identity. They have depth. They play 12, 13 guys. There's guys, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? They play a lot of guys, awesome. And they play basketball.
Yeah,
it ain't just Jokic. Jokic in a 7-game series, he is going to be tired as hell. You know how they wear LeBron and AD out, LeBron trying to guard Jokic. He can't play both. Jokic is going to be fatigued. They're very front loaded. They have no depth on the bench. Now they're starting Russ, which gives them less depth on the bench. It's like, you don't have enough to keep him fresh through a 7-game series to beat the better teams. And only team to me in the West is OKC. I have nobody else in the West.
Let me ask you
I give nobody else credit. The other teams are just not ready for me.
They're not on the same level. Okay, let me ask you a few questions, OKC, and then we'll move on. Okay, one of the big things that when I watch them play, their switching and their aggressiveness, and they hit first on defense. It's so impressive. Are you worried at all when they get into the playoffs that the size will catch up with them?
I'm only worried when it becomes to Boston when they're healthy.
Okay.
The other teams, I think they're good enough because if you let Jokic just score 50 and nobody else scores, you have a good – there's only one big in the West that I'm worried about. Like, that's him.
Yeah.
AD is up and down. Every other team in the league plays 5. The game is so small ball now.
All right, let me throw a just practical example. So like Minnesota, for instance, say they can go Rudy Nas, they can go Nas Julius, they can go Julius Nas. Okay. So say Jalen is at the 4 for big stretches and he's guarding either Julius or Nas. Like, are you worried at all that we can get him in switches? Like we can get Edwards and Julius and a lot of 2-mans, and we can get switches on whoever that is, Carson Wallace, or if it's Shai, or if it's Caruso, whatever it is, where it's like, okay, Julius, here you go, like, and just bully ball until they break that coverage. Like, not worried?
Yeah, I'm not worried at all.
Not worried. All right.
I honestly see Naz Reid as more of a valuable threat of mixing it up than Julius.
Okay.
Julius is just a brute force that's gonna,
Yeah.
Nas can mix it up a little bit better to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But even still, I think Jalen is big enough to guard those guys.
Okay.
Those guys, Alex Caruso, they're active. They move and switch. And end of the day, I just don't think those Minnesota, the Denvers, they don't have enough guys.
Like
they're not ready to. They're not ready to help. They're not ready to help the way they need to.
Like
it's going to take Anthony Edwards and Julius to score a bunch of numbers all to really beat these teams in 7-game series.
Yeah.
Same thing, Jokic. And I just don't believe 2 guys are good enough to beat OKC like they did. Dallas last year was very good, but they had PJ Watt, they had other pieces.
Yeah.
And they were just young.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think 2 guys are enough to beat them. Boston has enough pieces.
Yeah.
The other list of guys, they have enough pieces to score.
Dallas would give them those same problems that they gave them last year.
I just don't think they're the same group as they were last year. They lost some. They're just not the same group to me.
All right.
Now, that is that one I could put in the dark horse area, but
they are a dark horse.
I don't believe in them this year as much as I did last year. I didn't believe in them last year. I'm not going to be honest with you. Luka's been in and out. Kai and Luka, hopefully they're healthy. Clay is a good piece in addition for them. I think they lost some defense. PJ Washington is very good for them. Najee Marshall's solid. I just don't think I don't think they have enough.
All right,
and the same team they were last year, and also the matchups was great for them.
Yeah. All right, one that we do agree on from the East. So Boston, we agree. OKC, we don't. From the East, we both agree on Cleveland. First in offensive rating, 8th in defensive rating, second highest point differential in the league. They're really, really good. And they've got 2 guys that can go on the point of attack stuff. You put drop coverage in front of Mitchell or Garland, it's a jumper. You blitz them, they're getting in the pocket. Mobley and Allen are really good. Mobley especially is just so phenomenal in the pocket this year. If you switch stuff and put smalls like OKC did up in Cleveland, Mobley had his way. They can do a lot of stuff. They can solve a lot of problems. They're one of the best shooting teams in the league, first in 3-point percentage, second in non-corner threes, second in corner threes, first in mid-range shooting percentage. Like, they're good. They're really, really good. We both like them. What do you love the most about Cleveland?
Same thing with OKC. They're just pretty much the same version of each other, just in the East and West. They play really good team basketball and they have depth. Yeah. The only thing that they have that only bad thing for them is that they're in the same conference as Boston. Like, they're in the same.
They've looked good against Boston though.
They
in the
look
games
good,
that
and I think that if anybody were to get them this year, I don't see the Knicks doing it. They don't have enough.
Yeah.
I don't see Philly doing it. They're just too up and down. Like, saying if Philly gets healthy in a matter of time where they get everybody back and Joel is playing at a high level, you have an MVP caliber guy, he can always give you a chance. I just don't see them doing it. But the only team that I think Boston should be scared of is Cleveland, especially if they're not healthy. Even with healthy though, they have enough bigs and guards and depth to switch, move around, and chase. Said Pritchard's gonna have to really, really good. Sam Hauser's gonna have to step up. They're gonna have a lot of guys step up for Boston or play their A game in the whole series for them to get Cleveland. And I think that's the only thing that Cleveland is missing is just the experience. They need to take their lumps later, and like, this is the year where they're just not ready yet. They're gonna get there. I see them playing Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals and just having the bright lights, that stage.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very new for them. They're going to get their ass kicked, and then they're going to go home and get back. If they keep everybody together, they'll be the team to be able to beat the Boston the following year. But if things change, what's that? Depends on health with Boston. They could be a team to slide by, but they're just not. They're not ready to win a championship yet. But they could get to the finals.
So I love that. I've watched them a little bit recently. I love that they can go Garland, Mitchell as the guy who's the initiator. I love that Garland and Mitchell can both spot up. They can both shoot it. I love that they can shoot it off the bounce. I think it creates like these 2 different points of gravity that are really, really difficult to deal with in terms of setting your defense from a certain point. What would you do on, because I don't think you'd be on Garland much. You haven't like played that player a lot, but like Mitchell, a guy who's so explosive, who can really score in bunches, who can handle it. Like, what do you think that you guys say Toronto or Spurs? I don't care what team. What would you have done with a player like that in the pick and roll stuff?
Like guarding him?
Yeah. Like, you
before
personally.
This year, like I see. So this year he has the help now. Isaiah's his game. Well, Evan has stretched his game to be able to push the court. Darius is playing. They're all playing well, and they have pretty good shooting around them. Before it was pack the paint, dare him to shoot. Isaac Okoro was in the starting, starting guy. Anymore. Evan couldn't shoot it that well. Jared Allen, you had the 2 bigs. You can't do that anymore. He has enough help and enough shooting around where you can't trap him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of pick your poison. You got to send him away that you hopefully have a big. You don't let him shoot as many threes. You try to make him, beat you in the paint. The whole team try to make him beat you in the paint. In the mid-range area, make them shoot, floaters and jumpers and mid-range like contested by, bigger guards and protect.
Is that like bringing the big, like, even if you're going to play drop, like bringing them closer to the level and then moving them backwards? Because like if you start in a deep drop, like if you get a step, like he can shoot that one and you're on his back. Like, would you bring him up closer and kind of engage and then drop?
We had a coach that I liked him a lot. I won't say he had different types of coverages for bigs and to be different, like channel 1, channel 2, that type of thing. And whoever watches this knows exactly what I'm talking about. So like channel 1 would be up to touch.
He's really good defensively.
Yes. you channel 1 be up to touch right away, and then when he comes off, then you drop fast. You know what I'm saying? Channel 2 would be to blitz him. So the biggest thing is that I would make him play in the mid-range area, try to take away lob, take away the boards, try to eliminate Jared Allen as much as he's a very big X factor for them. Eliminate him as much as possible and eliminate Evans, rolls and lobs and rim finish, like make him shoot threes and mid-range as much as well. But Cleveland's just a very good all-around team and plays European type basketball. Like them and OKC, everybody they play together. Everybody touches the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing
Kenny Atkinson played in Europe. Long career in Europe.
Isaiah Joe getting great looks. Alex Caruso getting good. Like everybody is in rhythm and feeling good. Even in Cleveland, you see Sam Merrill coming off the bench getting shot. Ty Jerome coming off the bench being a factor. Like these guys, Max Strus coming off the bench. and they got Karis LeVert. You kind of forget about these all guys that can score, be a threat, but they're all very good pieces, play a role, and they're sharing and playing the right way. So that's just a hard game to prepare for. It's a hard scout to be like, all right, this is what they do. It's like them. They do a little bit of everything.
They do a little bit of everything. And they're okay with going.
They're comfortable with doing it.
They're okay to go to different stuff. Like they play. When I watch them play, there's so little ego. Like one of the great things I feel like is all those guys have gotten their money. Whether it's the top end guy or like middle of the road guys like Karis, Strus, like they've made really good money. The top end guys have the big money. Like, and I feel like that always helps in terms of playing the right way, because nobody's out there trying to like force it to be like, hey, you know what? I want another team to come get me and give me the big bucks, give me the bigger role. Like, I feel like that happens a ton. That sometimes slows team down because guys don't always have.
Ultimately, they got lucky.
Guys don't have the self-awareness all the time to be like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't need to score 20. I need to play this role and be an all-star in this role, and that will get me the money. A lot of times you think, I got to go get the buckets, but they're in a really nice spot, player and money and self-awareness role.
Because they paid the guys they're supposed to pay early, and those were untouchable, but the other guys weren't looked at because they were just never taken serious. The team was never taken serious. So they got lucky to be able to get Karis LeVert back, bring in Max Strus, like to keep those guys for cheaper because other teams weren't heavily sought after. Like they weren't sought after heavily from other teams. So, because I would believe
you were in this spot. Like there's something about when a team believes in you and empowers you, even if it's not the most amount of money that you could get somewhere. If they're on you first and they're like, we really think you can do this and you're a part, like that matters, right?
100%. It's where you feel comfortable as a player. And just with group. Like if you like your group, man, you feel like I give a lot of credit. So the reason why I have these two teams and in Boston, the organizations that can keep a group together for 3 or 4 years, you always have it. Like you have a really good shot at doing some special things.
I gotta shout out Evan because I love Evan. Last year I was on Adam Mares and Tim Legler's pod and they were doing like a 22 and under draft. I took Evan Mobley first, but only at the 5. When he's at the 5, he's my absolute favorite. I'm a sucker for the grab.
He is a mismatch problem.
Oh man, I'm a sucker for the grab and go big. That I can push it, I can dribble, I can get us into DHOs. Like if you hit me in the pocket, I can play make, I can dunk. He gets there, he throws lobs to Al. I just everything about the way he plays the game, I enjoy.
I have to give him a lot of credit for taking on the challenges of each summer of getting better and not being satisfied. Signing an extension, but still like I know I'm the piece that can help this group move forward, right? And ultimately, like it could have gone one or two ways for him. Like he could be, no disrespect to the guys that we've seen, like a Brandon Wright version, like he just rolling lob guy.
Yeah.
Or then he can go to the AD route where he's going to be intricate piece of the offense and doing face-up one-on-ones. B. Wright never got that opportunity to do that, but he could have just been a long athletic big.
Yeah.
But he's taken on himself to work on his hand, to work on these other things, work on a 3-ball, stretch it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then also give it to Kenny Atkinson and give him credit for allowing him to have that freedom to
he's
do that.
He's empowered him.
Yes. So, but it started with him first to be able to, you know what, even though I got my extension, I'm trying to be the next Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be the next so-and-so top 75. So he's still trying to be great, still evolving. And he's the reason why they're in the position they are in now. He's
got a chance to be, I call it like a 5-tool big in the pick and roll. They have like a 5-tool player in baseball, the Billy Bean Moneyball one. So like 5-tool big in the pick and roll. You can be a lob threat. Like you can stretch the floor vertically for a lob. You can stretch the floor as a pick and pop. You in the pocket, you can either score or you can play make. and then you're able to run offense, right? Like you can handle it, you can go to the next action, you can go rescreen, you can go touch. Like he's got a chance to be a 5-tool big in the pick and roll, and I love seeing him take little steps every single game.
I know nothing about baseball, but I assumed I kind of knew what you were getting at.
Yeah, they're rare. They're the rarest thing.
Appreciate you breaking that down for me.
In baseball, they're the guys that get, like Soto, 750 million or whatever. Like the only ones that are kind of around.
Might be the sport I teach my kids.
Yeah, good luck, W. All right, so the next one, we disagree on this one, and this is one like you're gonna have to sell me on this one because they didn't come into my calculus. I love them. Like I think they're really fun and nice. Like they're enjoyable. Like they play in the best arena in the world. There's no doubt about it. But like, sell me on why the New York Knicks even have like a boxer's chance to be NBA champions this year.
Because they're in your inner
circle. They're in your inner circle.
There's only 4 teams, and because the rest of the league is so weak to me, I just don't. The East is so weak, and then the rest of it. So if you're in the East, you have a better chance. But you just told me
Cleveland and Boston are going to be playing the Eastern Conference Finals, and somehow the New York Knicks are in the inner circle of title contenders over the Denver Nuggets with the MVP.
Nikola Jokic. They're in the East. They're in the East.
So they have a chance.
You have a chance. When you're in the East, you have a chance.
I can't get on board New York, but tell me, you can sell me on this. So I watched a lot of them over the past 2 weeks. How do they create any type of offense that flows without Jalen Brunson being the focal point of it? And if they can't do that, because he's their only offensive initiator, nobody else can get rotations going or crack the shell or be a playmaker. And if they can't do that, then how do they get past teams that can load up and gear up to stop them when it comes to a playoff series where you have to solve the next problem, the next problem, and the next problem?
Karl Anthony Towns.
He can shoot the ball, but he's not an offensive initiator.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay, sell me on the Karl Anthony Towns. Like
he's the reason Minnesota got to the Western Conference Finals. He was getting 20 games, 30-20 games. He's averaging 20, 25, and 10. Who knows? But he may not. You need creation. He can score. He can rebound.
Yeah, he can score.
He's playing a role. OG Anunoby's playing a role. Josh Hart. You got Mikal Bridges. These guys are top guys in other cities. They're playing roles. Yes, they're very top heavy. But if they stay healthy, you can play 2-man game, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, who can pick and pop what Porzingis does for Boston. And if he plays the way we know he can play, the reason why they didn't want to pay him, they traded him, is because he's up and down, and they don't. But realistically, he's a franchise player. He should be a guy behind Joel Embiid, behind Jokic, that they're talking about as one of the most talented centers to play the game of basketball because he shows it.
So here's my question about the 2-man game, because the more I watched them a ton, the more I dug into it. Every single month, points per possession, Brunson and Cat decrease. Like they kept spamming it, and I think teams have gotten a lot more data on it. I started to see 2 different things. I started to see teams matching up with those 2 on switchable players and putting their center on Hart and making, the funnel strategy to funnel it to Hart and making it easier to switch actions with those guys. And also Cat his points per possession are pretty good on post-ups, but he's not doing it at a frequency. He's like 4 posts per 100 possessions. He's not doing it at a frequency where you're going to really be like, we got to get out of that. And then the other thing I saw was if they weren't switching to 5, they would get into first tag man, early rotations out, and then just go next. And Cat isn't a big time playmaker. He can make a pass here or there, but he's not gonna make quick passes in 3v2s from the top of the key where you're really scared that that's going to kill you. And I think Brunson's the one that can kill you. So if those are the 2 coverages that on tape work the best, you're telling me that there's something that the Knicks are going to figure out that's going to beat these 2 coverages other than say, like, please make a ton of threes, Josh Hart?
I just don't think they're going to need to do all that. You can't double with the players you have on the floor. Now, Cat may not be a great decision, but he's good enough to shoot 3. He's good enough to make a pass to OG or Mikal Bridges underneath the basket for a dunk or a 3. You're going to double Jalen Brunson in pick and roll? Be my guest. He'll make the right reads or he'll beat it and get around it. They're just very good. And then when Mitchell Robinson comes back, that gives them more rebounding, more defense to protect the rim off the bench with depth. Deuce McBride, Campaign is solid off the bench for them. They do lack depth. That's the only thing concerned. But to me, they're more experienced, more ready than Cleveland.
I forgot you're in
So if they end up
I forgot. There's
I'm not,
nothing
I'm not even a
anybody
Knicks
can
fan.
tell New Yorkers. I'm
not a Knicks fan.
Like,
I grew up liking everybody
I told
else.
you I just watched them, for 2 weeks. Like, the pick and roll doesn't look good. Like, it's just hard. And you're just like, no, you know what? Is New York, buddy.
They're still number 3 on my list. Like, they're number 3 on my list.
All right.
So I have OKC, Boston, and then New York. It's not like I had them number 1. Yeah. They're just one of the better teams in the East. I wish other teams were better.
Can I give you one from the West now that we've talked about Towns that I think when they get to the end of the year, I watched them a ton the past week. I put some notes out today. I think when they get to the end of the year, I think when you get into playoff series, I really feel like there's a team inside. There is a team inside of these parts right now that can win a championship and that can get into any series and present problems and solve problems better than any other club in the playoffs, because they could have the best player in every series and they have a nice counterpunch that goes along with them. And I think it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I know it doesn't look good right now all the time, but Anthony Edwards can do the Luka thing where he can push your defense outside of the Overton window, and he can create these huge spaces where Julius Randle can play 4 versus 3. And I think Julius, as a playmaker, as the season goes on, is going to lean more and more into this, because scoring is not the thing they need from him. They need offensive creation from advantage basketball.
I agree to an extent for certain parts, but no. Sorry, I know you got excited, but no. You need scoring from Julius. If Ant's going to be making the play to give you need scoring from both those guys.
He can score it a little bit. I mean, he's going to be playing a lot. He's going to be playing 4 versus 3. He can score it a little bit. Is there anybody scarier when he gets it going than Anthony Edwards right now?
No. Yes, there's a lot of people. Luka.
Yeah. He's scary.
And the reason why,
but he's on that level. He's not far away from that level. Like, if Luke is here, he's not down here. He's like Luke.
So you're talking about in the guard space. In the guard space, it's him and Luka. It's in the guard space, because if you got Jokic, you got Shai, you got a couple guys that you're like, all right.
But like, Shai can't do the thing that those two can do.
No, he can't. He shoots at a high clip. He's shooting 43 from 3 right now. So I do like that.
Decision making, most makes in the NBA.
What I don't like is if you take the ball out of his hands, Minnesota is very much of a shell. You need a lot of scoring from other, and they don't have enough pieces around them to score. Like, Naz Reid has to score a lot. Julius has to score a lot. And then you got a guy who you extended. I love Rudy. I think Rudy's a great defensive piece. But we all know when it comes to the playoffs, you put Rudy in the game, they're going to stretch him out. A lot of times you traded Cat and you extended Rudy. That, to me, did not make sense.
They remind me.
Sorry to say.
Their
I like Anthony
structure.
Edwards, I like Julius. But it's Cancun on 3 after first. I don't see them, depending on the matchup. Even with the matchup, I don't see them. They're not the same team they were last year.
Their structure of a team and their setup reminds me very much of Dallas. And Edwards reminds me very much of Luka in terms of the level he can get to when it comes to a series and the problems he can present. And that's why I think
I agree on that part.
When we talk about 82 versus 16, I think they're one of those 16 teams.
This is what hurts Anthony Edwards.
Tell me.
He also has to guard your best player on the other end of the floor. Luka can just chill on defense.
Wait. No. That's not true. They have Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels is really good. I saw.
When was the last time he is good?
I watched their game against
him locking anybody up?
I watched their game against New York. He put the clamps on Brunson. Brunson came out the gate, had 11 points in like the first 16 points.
I haven't heard anything about Jaden McDaniels since he signed his contract. Since before that, when Ant hyped him up to get first team, and they made him believe he was one of the best defenders in the league. I haven't heard much from him since. I think he's a really good potential special piece. Stop. He might help you. Nikola Alexander-Walker might help you defensively, but Ant ultimately takes on himself to guard the best player in the other team.
Yeah.
He can't do both, but ultimately he's going to wear down. He's going to be tired because he has less help offensively. The load is on him and Julius to me is good, but I just don't think he's as talented as Cat was. And I don't think he takes off the load as much as Cat did.
So I got 2 things before we get off Minnesota. One, I think that Julius is better at the thing that they need. That's the next counter from Anthony Edwards. I think Cat, it's the problem that I see with Cat in New York. Brunson and Edwards in that 2-man game are going to get blitzed. When it comes to Cat, this was the problem in Minnesota. I think it's the problem in
Julius,
New York.
you think could make better reads?
I think Julius is way more of a playmaker, 4 versus 3 out of it. I think Cat is way better of a scorer and a shooter, but you can rotate out of that. And now we're talking about, the big advantage is Cat. Cat's a great shooter. He's unbelievable at shooting the ball, but the big advantage is taken away. And I think Julius can make plays, can get downhill, is a much better passer, way more creative. And I think Minnesota and Tim Conley knew that's the next layer from Anthony Edwards, seeing Luka, seeing all these guys of this is what happens when you stretch the floor to this place. And I think Julius fits way better in a playoff setting. The next thing about Minnesota, do you want to co-sign that with me?
I'll agree with that. But the only thing is, I don't think that Julius in the playoff time, I think early on he did that. He was, I think it'll come down to who he thinks, I came here, they're going to need me to score, and I need to show why I'm here.
My hope is that they get that figured out. And then the next thing I really like about him, I think they've got to change up. I think they've got to change a pitch that not a lot of teams have, and it's Rob Dillingham. I mean, this dude is absolute chaos on the court. He is so fast. It's one of those things where like you kind of don't know, like everybody's an outlier. I talk about like the filtration system from college to the NBA. Everybody's kind of an outlier in college. You can make bad reads. You can still blow up spots. Like you don't really know what's going to be an outlier until you step on an NBA court and you see like these physical traits matched up against the other best athletes in the world. And there aren't a ton of like outlier, traits, but this dude's speed is outlier. And the fact that he's got a tight enough handle that he can use the speed effectively. And you can kind of feel when he's out there, you can feel the Minnesota dudes leaning into like, hey, come run this 2-man game with me. Like Naz Reid will be like, hey, come on. Or Rudy will be like, hey, like you can see them empowering him because they know, like, this, when you're out there, what's different. Like, when something feels different and his speed feels so different. And it feels like something that every like 2 or 3 games can just break open a quarter. And the other big thing he does, if he's doing that and causing chaos, it's a big chunk of time that Anthony Edwards doesn't have to be the one cracking the shell, and he gets to play from an advantage instead of creating the advantage. And I think like those are the 2 reasons that right now it's not great, but I really think if they put the pieces in place and they make the building blocks happen, I think there's a really, really dangerous playoff team living inside of that. I have to say,
I just don't think he's ready yet. They bring him along now. If they play him a lot of heavy minutes from this point forward, I just don't see him being ready for that just yet.
So we have two dark horses, and you can tell me which one you want to talk about. This will be what we get out of here on. Indiana or LA Clippers. Like I think they both have this.
I like
outside
the Clippers.
Chance. Yeah,
with why always a chance with why I can't go against them. For me, I didn't want. I had Clippers and Memphis kind of my dark horses. Yeah. Memphis just not ready.
Yeah.
Clippers they just have to be healthy, and that's just so up in the air. So I'm with the Clippers. Indiana, to me, I'm just this year I'm not really rolling. They just don't look like the same group as last year. And last year, I think they had a lot of matchups and injuries that helped them get to where they were. Not saying that they didn't deserve. They were very good and they played well.
Can I tell you a few things about Indiana where I feel Andrew Nembhard. That's like full story.
He's very good. There's not many true point guards in our league, and I was trying to find some. Yeah. To talk about, and everybody says Tyrese Halliburton, even though he still kind of does score first at times, he's aggressive, but there's not many pass first point guards. He's one of them, but Nembhard is very good at what he does.
He's been back, and they're 19-9 with him. His net rating per cleaning glass is plus 15.3. They're a 55.5 pace win team with him. Like he unlocks everything for them. He takes the pressure off of Halliburton to handle the ball all the time. Lets him play off the ball from advantage, can spot up and play off of them. He's like this. When I watch him, I think he's like the boxing version of like body punches. You don't see exactly what he's doing every single possession, but it affects. Yes, every single time. Oh my God, just wearing him down. Deflection here. He does such a good job, like leverage wise, like under somebody. Deflection here. One more pass here. Like, okay, Tyrese, don't worry. I'll pick up 94 feet. Oh, they want to press you? Don't worry. I'll bring it up. Like he's just body punches over and over and over again. And I think like their team is unlocked when he's playing, and they have stuff. We always talk about like, they got stuff you got to stop. They got stuff that you got to stop. Like out of the top, pick and roll combos, on second spectrum, filtered for volume. So top 40 combos of the year, they have the first and the third. They have 2 in the top 3. They have Siakam and Halley, and they've got Turner and Halley. Like Siakam and Halley, 1.31 points per possession. Turner, 1.18. So like they're both cooking points out. They can both pick and pop. You can't switch them. Like they've got stuff that you got to be able to solve, and I like that in the playoffs. I like funky stuff that can kind of put teams in rotation and that you got to stop first. So them and the Clippers are outside horses for me.
I'm with you. It's funny how you gave me some shit about New York, but Indiana and Clip, like I think these teams are good.
New York for me. Indiana's well above New York for me when it comes to.
I don't know how that's.
Team.
I don't know how they're well above.
They're well above.
I see it.
All right.
Clippers. I said yes.
All right, that's our list.
I like these teams, but I just don't. Yeah, I don't. I had 4.
Okay.
If you had Memphis was my dark horse just in case, but they're just not ready. But I like the Clippers. I said when Y is locked in, I see him play the other night against the Lakers. Looked good.
He's special.
Looks sharp, making plays. James looks good.
Love James.
Obviously, not everybody's 100% of what they were when they're in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loses half a step, but James is very good at what he does. But Norm is playing at a high level. He can hoop. They got young guys. Amir Coffey can hoop. Terrence Mann is there. They playing him up now. I feel like he should play more.
Mm-hmm.
They have some Big Zoo back. Big Zoo is unbelievable.
He's really good.
He's a very good.
Can you believe he got traded for Mike Muscala straight up by Magic?
I'm sure Bron and AD are pretty upset about that one. AD could use him right now. But yes, they have a lot of really good pieces, man. And with Ty Lue, what he's done and has been there and knows what to do.
They present problems.
Them more of a dark horse for them. The only thing is for me, they're just inconsistently health wise. Yeah. They're in the West, and if they match up with a Phoenix Suns or a Denver Nugget, you just never know what's going to happen. And I think also ultimately during that time, they do get they're a little older, so they may run out of gas some. And they come up against a young Houston team that is fierce and ready. They could get bounced out in the second round or so. But if Y is healthy,
they got a chance. If Y is healthy, they got a chance.
Not many people that are better than him. 2-way players in the game, in the history of the game, that are better. So
I love their squad. I like what Lou does. I like Van Gundy in the defense. Like that's a whole new thing that will be fun in the playoffs. Like he's been sitting watching basketball courtside, probably thinking about like what the modern game looks like. He's seen every game up close, prep for it. Like I'm sure there are ideas in his head about like when I get in a playoff series, I would really like to see like can this player solve that. So like I think that'll be a ton of fun. All right, last thing, DG questions. This is rapid fire. You don't get to do the DG. I'm giving you a long answer. This is rapid fire. All right, shot clock.
Quick and easy.
24 seconds on the clock. You ready?
Yep.
All right, better championship after party. 14 Spurs, 19 Raptors, 20 Lakers.
19 Raptors.
Yeah, okay. Why?
We're in the bubble for the Lakers.
Okay. And you were young with the Spurs?
Spurs, yes. No, we were young, but we're also at home. So it was cool. I liked it.
Okay.
But I appreciated more with Toronto because we were on the road and you had to celebrate as a team.
In it. All right. I love that. Okay. Yeah. Better game winner. Kawhi's fadeaway 2 in the corner or AD slob 3 versus Denver?
Kawhi.
Emotions on that shot.
Bro, what?
It's in the air.
Unbelievable. It's probably, honestly, they had the top, 100 plays in history, clutch plays in history of the NBA. They had that like number 4 or number 3. I'm like, how is this not
underrated?
It's game 7. You know what I'm saying?
Love
like
it.
They had Kyrie and they had bronze block in the finals and they had Kyrie's sidestep shot. Fair game.
Not bad.
Like, this is for the game. For game 7, there's nothing bigger than me in clutch moments than this.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, louder pop in a finals arena. LeBron haymaker dunk or a Steph Curry 3?
Oh, wow.
Curry flurry or LeBron haymaker? Which one's getting the louder pop?
What arena are we in?
Oh, home arena. Miami and Oracle.
Okay, so I'm Oracle because I think Miami. I think Bron and Cleveland may be different.
Okay,
yeah, but Bron had said it. Bron had fans, especially when he was with Miami and with the Lakers. He had like when they were the Lakers, or when he came to Cleveland, he had fans in every other arena. When he catch a dunk with Cleveland in San Antonio, we're like, oh, there's Cleveland fans in here? Like, what the Yeah.
All right.
So he had that type of thing. But if it's Bron Miami.
Well, these are the finals that you played in. You know? So Bron Haymaker dunk in Miami, or Curry Flurry
Steph.
3 in Oracle.
Steph 3 just always fucking.
All right, last one, big one. Better bath time song. Baby Shark, Under the Sea.
Under the Sea.
Under the Sea.
I'm not a Baby Shark fan. It's just I guess it's gotten to the point where it's just so annoying.
P loves them both.
Yeah, and he doesn't even listen to them yet. He's not even listening to them yet. But I just heard him throughout the years before he's born. We do regular jams. He plays his own music. He likes some jazz, R&B.
Love that.
And then he likes some turn up music. He loves to dance and snap his fingers and clap.
All right, Danny Green, our friend, our only one of two men to ever beat LeBron James and Steph Curry in the finals. Thanks for checking in with us. Inner Circle of Contenders. We're gonna have to check back in when the playoffs roll around, see where our contenders are. If we're 1, 2, 3 Cancun, or if we feel like they got a shot.
If we're geniuses or if we're just terrible at analyzing the game. We'll find out soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, my man. Thanks for checking in. Have a good one.
Appreciate you, brother. Y'all read, subscribe, rate, review, all the good stuff.
There you go.